Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live's weekly roundup of orchestral and other big stage productions. And we have a cornucopia of different kinds of soloists, of singers, of instrumentalists, and everything from Bach to newly composed compositions. I think it's going to be a great week for those with broad taste. I have this picture up there to show you just how many different kinds of performers are involved in what's basically a series of orchestral concerts. Now, before we go any further, I want to remind you to follow us or subscribe to us. If you're watching this on Facebook, click on the like the video button. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe. If you're watching on any of our other 4 platforms, please don't just like the video, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. And in return, we will continue to give you more than 1,000 live links to live performances online here in 2025. We're already well on the way. Last week, I think there were something like 45 live streams that we noticed to you and gave you the live links to, in terms of orchestral works, operas, chamber music, recitals, organ recitals. It was just a very crowded week. And this week, again, I have a dozen different live streams to go through for you. So I think we should get right to them without wasting any more time. Let's do that. Now, the first of these live streams is coming up very soon. In fact, it's in just about an hour. It's about 6:40 in the evening here in Europe, which makes it 1:40 on the East Coast and 10:40 on the West Coast, something like that. Anyway, at 7:45 European time, which will be, what time will that be? 2:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 11:45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Daniele Gatti is conducting the La Scala Philharmonic Orchestra in a program of Anton Webern's Langsamer Satz, Alban Berg's concerto for violin and orchestra called Alla Memoria di un Angelo, to the memory of an angel, and Wagner's Die Meistersinger, an orchestral tribute as arranged by Henrik de Vlieger. The To the Memory of an Angel is an interesting piece. It resulted in Albert Berg not finishing his last opera. Berg was working on his last opera, which was called Lulu, and the daughter of a friend of his died, and so he set aside Lulu to write the concerto. And by the time he had finished writing the concerto, it ended up being the last thing he ever wrote. The violinist for that piece, I have a photograph of him I can show you, will be Frank Peter Zimmermann. And Zimmermann, this is the second time this season he's working with Daniele Gatti. They have an appearance on their schedule. I don't know if it already happened or it's happening later, but Zimmermann's 24-25 schedule includes appearances with Daniele Gatti and the Staatskapelle Dresden Orchestra, and also with the Berlin Phil, the Cleveland Orchestra, the Boston Symphony, the Hamburg Philharmonie. So he's the top guy. As soon as this is over, you might want to mosey on over toward watching it. But I have to warn you, it's not free of charge. It will cost you €4.90 because it's on La Scala's own website. Then there's another live stream coming up right away tomorrow. I have a photo of that too. It's a guitarist. It's all guitarist. It's I'll tell you about it. Tuesday, March 25th, the Moscow Phil host and live streams the Svetlanov Symphony Orchestra and three guitarists playing Bernstein, Podgates, Rodrigo, and Goss. I don't know what they're playing by these composers. The Moscow Phil does not deign to tell us about that. But the guitarists are Rene Izquierdo, Artyom Dervoed, and Dmitry Ilarionov. And the Moscow Phil apparently thinks that they're pretty good. I don't know what else to say. Check it out if you love guitar music. Another interesting concert then coming up soon thereafter. Let me find the photo for that. I have too many photos stored with the same number attached to them. An accordion and symphony orchestra concert. Wednesday, March 26th, the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra brings in top accordionist Ksenia Sidorova to play Václav Troyan's Fairy Tales Concerto for Accordion and Orchestra. That should be interesting. Now, it's not free of charge. The Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra charges you £10 for a ticket to enjoy one of their live streams, and then you have access to the recording of it for a month thereafter. The entire program they're playing is Mozart's Overture to the Magic Flute, because this is all about fairy tales and folklore. This is the name of the concert. So the Overture to the Magic Flute, then D. Hartmann's Fairy Tales, Opus 58, then the Václav Troyan Fairy Tales Concerto, and then Tchaikovsky's Francesca da Rimini, a symphonic fantasy after Dante, Opus 32. I often say the mark of an accomplished musician is that they have pieces written for them, and that's the case with Ksenia Sidorova. She's Latvian. She had a piece written for her by Tonu Korvits called "Dances with Piano," just called "Dances." With Paavo Järvi and the Estonian Festival Orchestra. They commissioned it. Then Sergei Akunov composed a Shakun for her, which was premiered by the London Chamber Orchestra. Then Arturs Mascata composed an accordion concerto for her, which was premiered by the Latvian National Symphony Orchestra. And this year, there's a new concerto coming out for her by Dobrinka Tabakova, which she's going to be performing with the Stuttgart Philharmonic and with the Latvian National Symphony and with the Sofia Philharmonic. So she's an accordionist on the go. We don't get that many that we get a chance to enjoy. I commend it to you. Have a good time. What do we have next on the schedule? Yes, next on the schedule, we go down under because the people down under are coming out of their summer break now. Wednesday, Thursday, March 26th, 27th, principal conductor Yema New launches the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra's 2025 season with pictures at an exhibition and Guillaume Connaisson's new Concerto No. 2 for flute and orchestra. And that photo that you see there, there's Yema New on the right. She's a former Dudamel Fellow at the LA Phil, as are a number of these up-and-coming women composers who are making the scene now. And I've never seen a conductor that was a Dudamel Fellow who isn't really good. I haven't. Mostly they're younger conductors. I think Dudamel started that at the LA Phil around 2010 or something. He's had about 10, 15 years of, and they're all good, and they're all over Europe and down in New Zealand. So I mentioned that, so you know that. Now, as for the flautist, she's known as like one of the top flautists in the world. Let me give you the complete program. They're playing Gareth Farr's From the Depths Sound the Great Sea Gongs, Part 1, The Invocation of the Sea. So for some reason, that sounds very New Zealandish to me because, you know, it's just a big island. And then Connaisson's Concerto No. 2 for flute and orchestra. And then Mussorgsky's Ravel's orchestration of Mussorgsky's pictures at an exhibition. And the flutist, Emily Beynon, she's the principal flautist at the Concertgebouw Orchestra in the Netherlands, considered one of the top 5 flautists in the world by Classic FM. And she's originally from Welsh, studied at the Royal College of Music in London, but then studied with Alain Marion in Paris. But all of that was a while ago. She also tours around with her sister, Catherine Beynon, who's a harpist, and she's also very enthusiastic about new music. So and Yemenu, as I've said, I think she's terrific. So I think that'll be a great concert. Now that too is not free of charge. If you want to see the digital concerts of the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, you need to subscribe. But the subscription is only $5.99 New Zealand dollars per month, and I think that's about in American dollars. It's like $3.50. So that's like €3.50, and you get at least one live stream. Well, actually, you can cancel it. The thing to do is subscribe for this month and then cancel it, because then they won't be live streaming again until July and August. But July and August, they have 3 or 4 live streams in a row. So then you go back to them in July and subscribe again. That's the height of their season. Well, you may know that. I don't know. I just mentioned it because it's there to be mentioned, I'm doing a live stream. What do you want? Okay, now we have another, but these are all, I find, so far, I find a number of these concerts to really be intriguing. Thursday, March 27th, Polish conductor Marzyna Dziakun leads the Saarbrücken Kaiserslautern Phil in Schumann's cello concerto and in Bruch's Kol Nidri, which is based on Hebrew melodies. That's at 1 o'clock. It's an afternoon concert. I don't know why. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon European time, 8 in the morning on the East Coast, too early, 5 in the morning on the West Coast. But if you're up late in Australia at 11 o'clock in the evening, it's a perfect timing. They'll be doing Schumann's cello concerto in A minor, as orchestrated by Dmitri Shostakovich in 1963. Is that not interesting? And then they're doing a piece by Bruch, which is called Kol Nidre. It's composed in 1880. Bruch was a German Protestant. He was not Jewish, but everybody thought he was Jewish after he composed this because it's such a Jewish piece. Kol Nidre means all vows. And this is a piece for cello and orchestra. So your cellist here, who's playing in this concert, Sebastian Klinger, he's doing double duty. And I'm finding more and more often there are these concerts turning up where you have the soloist playing in both the first and second half of the program. Marc-André Hamelin did that last week. And the week before that, there was a Russian violinist who did 2 concertos in the same program. I think he did Rachmaninoff and Tchaikovsky. So this is becoming a thing. I'm not familiar with it in the past. Anyway, Kol Nidre means all vows in Aramaic. And it's based on 2 themes from Jewish scripture or Jewish sacred tradition. And the first of them is an adagio on 2 Hebrew melodies. And it comes from, there's a declaration in the evening service on Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement for all the practicing Jews. And there's a declaration called Kol Nidre, and that's where Kol Nidre comes from. The conductor, the Polish conductor, she was for 2 or 3 years in the early 2020s, we're now into the mid 2020s, she was the principal conductor and artistic director of the Madrid Community Orchestra, which is not a community orchestra, that's the Madrid Orchestra. And she is now going to be the conductor of the Staatsorchester Rheinische Philharmonie, starting next year. And she was the first female to conduct that, to be the chief conductor of that Madrid Orchestra, and now she'll be the first one with the Staatsorchester Rheinische Philharmonie. What's interesting to me is that there was a period back in 2009 to 2012 when she headed up a Spanish contemporary music band called Smash Ensemble. I think that's really cool. She did that while she was working on her doctorate at Krakow. Anyway, as for Sebastian Klinger, he is involved this month in working on a CD recording with Marzena Diacon. So I'm guessing that the music he's playing is going to end up on that CD. And he plays around with he's played with the Munich Radio Symphony Orchestra, the Berlin Radio Symphony, that Saint Cecilia Orchestra down in Rome, the Gulbenkian, Hong Kong, etc. And he won a Diapason d'Or for his CD of the Bach cello suites, all of them. So he now teaches at the Hamburg University of Music and Theater. That promises to be a high quality concert and an intriguing one if you don't know this Kol Nidre piece, which I don't know. Apparently it's very moving though. So let us move on now to the next of our fascinating offerings this week. And do I have a photo for the next offering? I probably don't. Yeah. Friday, March 28th, the Gulbenkian Orchestra live streamed Schoenberg's Pelléas and Mélisande, and also a piece by Schoenberg's mentor, Alexander von Zemlinsky, called The Mermaid. That'll be at 8 o'clock European time, and correspondingly 3 o'clock on the East Coast and noon on the West Coast. There was a relationship between Alexander von Zemlinsky and Schoenberg. Zemlinsky was sort of a mentor for Schoenberg. And so these two pieces, well, Zemlinsky's was based on the Little Mermaid story, and then Schoenberg's was based on the play Pelléas and Mélisande. So that's the coincidence between the two of them. The conductor is Lorenzo Viatti, who's described as one of the most dynamic conductors of his generation. But my problem when I read descriptions like that is that's what they say about everybody. If it's a pianist, oh, he's the top pianist of his generation. A violinist, he's the top violinist of his generation. I don't know what that means anymore, but it's supposed to mean that he's pretty good. I can't say. But he is the chief conductor of the Netherlands Phil and the Dutch National Opera. He conducts a good deal of opera with the Dutch National Opera. This year they'll be doing Die Fledermaus and Britain's Peter Grimes, and then he'll also be with the Zurich Opera doing Korngold's Die Tote Stadt, which I like so much. And he works a lot with La Scala and the Saint Cecilia orchestral ensembles. So there's that. Now, coming up after that, we then have a series on Friday night. There are 3 different German orchestras which are live streaming at the same time, 8 o'clock Central European time. So I'll tell you about each of the 3 of them rather quickly, and you figure out, Friday night, you might have a hard time choosing between 3 different live streams by German orchestras in Frankfurt, Hamburg, and Köln, all at 8 o'clock p.m. Central European time. Now, if you're a Bach lover, you may not want to miss all 6 Brandenburg concertos played by a ricordo virtuoso in the Frankfurt Radio Symphony's live stream on Friday, March 28th at 8 o'clock European time. The conductor for that is Morris Steiger, whom you see in the photo. Morris Steiger has long been considered like the unrivaled top recorder player in the world, and he'll be playing these Brandenburg concertos, but he'll also be conducting them. The original title of the Brandenburg concertos is in French. It's Six concerts avec plusieurs instruments. So it's about a 125-minute concert, including the break. But if you're a Bach lover, you'll want as much of this as you can get. Then at the same time, I can't say after this, at the same time, you have another, this is an interesting concert, not for who's in it, but for the composer who's represented in this. Fanny Mendelssohn Hensel. There's a photo of her, but she looks lovely there. But Friday, March 28th, again at 8 o'clock in the evening, the Köln Philharmonic with Christian Macellaro will be playing Fanny Hensel's Overture in C major and Schumann's Concerto in D minor for violin and orchestra, and Brahms's Symphony No. 1 in C minor. What a program. That's Macellaro, who is, he's becoming the chief conductor at the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. They're so lucky to have him. Anyway, Fanny Hensel was the sister of Felix Mendelssohn. It's Fanny Mendelssohn Hensel. And she never got the recognition that many people think she deserved at the time. Not only that, though, not only was her work not recognized, but so they're going to play her overture in C major, but then they're going to play the Schumann Concerto in D minor for violin and orchestra. And here's the thing, that violin concerto was also not played at the time. His heirs banned its publication for 100 years. So you have two pieces being played in the first half of this concert, which were not really played at the time or for many, many years thereafter. And if you don't know them, they're certainly worth discovering. So that's another good. I mean, do you want that, or do you want the Brandenburg Concerto? I don't know how you make that choice. And then the third of these German orchestras I can tell you about is the inimitable Alan Gilbert at the helm. Now, this is an interesting concert because Friday, March 28th at 9 in the evening European time, Alan Gilbert conducts a concert of Mozart and Richard Strauss's Ein Heldenleben, but they can only live stream the Strauss, not the Mozart. Why? They don't tell, it's copyright things. My guess is that the pianist, Emanuel Ax, has a recording of him playing the Mozart piano concerto, which is part of this concert. So you'll just get the terrific dynamic Alan Gilbert's great guy conducting Ein Heldenleben, Opus 40 by Richard Strauss, and it's all about a hero battling his enemies, and a lot of people think that Strauss identified himself with the hero battling his own enemies. Okay. And that's not all that we have, though, for Thursday evening. There's yet more to come. There's a legendary pianist, or a near legendary pianist. And a singer. Sonia Rubinsky and Marley Montani. And for some reason, my attempt to upload that photo did not succeed. I have to upload it again. Sometimes it only works the second time. All right, it worked the second time. And I still see that we have some of you still with us following this. Friday evening, March 28th in Brazil, the Sao Paulo Symphony live streams the almost legendary pianist Sonia Rubinsky playing a composer she knows very well, Villa-Lobos's Piano Concerto No. 5. Why do I say that? You know, they're calling this symphony Sonia Rubinsky se encontra con Villa-Lobos. Which I think roughly means Sonia Rubinsky encounters Villa-Lobos, but she knows Villa-Lobos very well. She has recorded the complete piano works of Villa-Lobos, and also works by Bach, Debussy, Messiaen, Scarlatti, Mozart, Rachmaninoff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She was born in Brazil to a Polish mother and Lithuanian father. But she went away to study at the Rubin Academy in Germany. And there's a famous photo that floats around when she was like 12 years old, playing for Arthur Rubinstein. And he's amazed at how well she plays. Anyway, it was just onward and upward for her from that. Well, I call her almost legendary because, you know, if you call her legendary, what, is she no longer alive? But when she's gone, she will be the legendary Brazilian Israeli pianist. It's what she'll be. The entire program is Benzecri's Curupira, O Guardião da Natureza, which is a world premiere. Then Villa-Lobos's piano concerto. Then they come back, and it's time for Marli Montani, the soprano, to sing Buni's Meia Lagrima, which I'm not sure how to translate that. It's based on a poem by Conceição Evaristo. This sounds like a very Brazilian evening. And then they'll finish off gaily with Rachmaninoff's Symphonic Dances, Opus 45. So there's always hope and uplifting in the end. Another intriguing concert. We're on to Saturday. The Tomsk Philharmonic gives you a chance to discover and maybe even enjoy an unusual French horn concerto by a Soviet composer of German and Polish ancestry, Reinhold Moritzek Glier, whom you likely do not know. That's Saturday, March 29th. It'll be at 7 o'clock KRAT time in the evening. That's Siberia, which is 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Europe, and early 7 in the morning, Eastern Daylight Time, too early, 4 a.m. Pacific Coast Time, but 11 in the evening, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. It's the usual conductor of the Tomsk Philharmonic, Igor Berendeyev from Moscow, and the horn player is Zakhar Nikiforov, and he's been with the Tomsk Philharmonic since at least 2015. You can find him on YouTube. I couldn't find anything about him other than his YouTube page. Glier you don't hear that many concertos for French horn and orchestra, and who knows Reinhold Moritzevich Glier. He was born of German and Polish parents in Kiev, in Ukraine, in like 1874, 1875, died in 1956 in Moscow. As he was coming of age, he studied at the Moscow Conservatory. Later, he taught at the Kiev Conservatory. And after the Russian Revolution, his status just went higher and higher because he was interested in national music and of these different folks who were being consolidated into the Soviet Union. And he also organized workers' concerts and was very active in the Moscow Union of Composers. And so, you know, he was really on board with all the Soviet stuff. Then in the second half, they'll play Ravel's Bolero, Waltz by Bolero, and Spanish Rhapsody by Bolero. So once again, there's a good time at the end of the concert. Unusual. And now we're just about at the end. We are on the 12th of these live streams, and that's not all of them. I would not be surprised if there's more for the Moscow Phil that they haven't posted yet. The St. Petersburg Phil doesn't give me access to their website at all. I'm blocked for some reason, no matter what browser I try or whatever. And well, that's that. I'm sure they'll do fine without me. Saturday, March 29th at 8 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time, Yader Bignamini of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra conducts Saint-Saëns and Brahms. That'll be, that's at 1 o'clock in the morning European time, 2 o'clock in the morning European time because Europe is going on daylight savings time this weekend. So adjust your watches. If you're going to watch the Detroit Symphony and you're in Europe following this, it'll be at 2 in the morning. And it'll be at 11 o'clock in the morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday. They'll be doing a piece by Jeremy Crossmer called Solo, that's newly composed. Then they'll be doing Camille Saint-Saëns Piano Concerto No. 2, and then Yadar Bignamini takes on Brahms' Symphony No. 3 in F major. Who's the pianist going to be? I don't know. On their website, on one page, they say it's teenage pianist Alexandra Dovgan making her orchestra debut. But then on another page, it says that the pianist is going to be the pianist and composer Conrad Tao. So the reason I only give you the photo of the great Yadar Bignamini is I don't know who the pianist is going to be. Folks, that's what we have for you for this week. I hope that one or more or any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or just gives you a good time, and that you feel a part of the global audience when you do tune in. Let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, like the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to Access Arts Live there. And if you're watching us on our other 4 platforms, don't just like the video, like us. Follow or subscribe to Access Arts Live on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. And in return, we promise you we will continue giving you more than 1,000 live links to live performances online in 2025. Thanks for being with us. Thanks if you're watching this later. I'll be back tomorrow with a live stream of the roundup of organ recitals for this week, and probably also with the roundup of chamber music for this week. Ciao for now.